I am Aiden Bennett. At 24 years old, I carry the essence of my roots from the vibrant city of Cleveland, Ohio, where my journey began and flourished. My dad toiled through the nights at a manufacturing plant, while my mom dedicated her days to nurturing young minds as a third-grade teacher in a public school. We may not have been destitute, but each dollar held significant weight in our lives. My parents often reminded me to cherish what I have, warning me not to gamble everything for my dreams. Yet, deep within me, there was this persistent ache, a feeling that I was never truly meant to be there. I yearned for something beyond the familiar streets, the same faces, the monotonous rhythm of life that felt like an endless loop. After I proudly graduated from Ohio State with my marketing degree, I filled a single suitcase with my dreams and set off for the vibrant streets of New York City. With no connections and no job in sight, all I have is a few $1,000s saved from delivering pizzas and toiling away at summer construction gigs. For the first 6 months, I found myself drifting from couch to couch, delivering food to make ends meet, and pouring my heart into every internship application I could uncover. It felt like a long journey with no success, until I unexpectedly discovered this small yet esteemed agency known as Stone & Bloom. They poured their passion into high-end branding, fashion, innovative tech startups, and charming boutique hotels. It wasn't Google or a huge advertising agency, but I could sense their undeniable flair. The moment I received the email for the interview is etched in my memory. I meticulously shaved 3 times, determined to leave no spot untouched, all while wearing the one blazer I cherished. My heart raced with nerves, yet somehow, I must have done something right, as they extended to me the opportunity of an unpaid internship. 3 long months. If I could truly impress them, perhaps it would blossom into a genuine opportunity for me. From the very first day, I found myself in the role of the one who fetched coffee, printed presentations, and reserved conference rooms. Yet, it didn't matter to me. I embraced every opportunity that came my way. I lingered long into the night. I beamed at everyone around me. I was battling for a brighter future, holding on to the hope that if I poured my heart and soul into my efforts, someone, somewhere would finally see me. It was Jay Morgan who emerged as that someone. She held the esteemed position of a senior project lead. In her early 40s, she was incredibly sharp, rarely gracing anyone with a smile, yet when she spoke, the entire room hung on her every word. In her presence, the people at the office hurried by, their footsteps quickening as if drawn by an invisible force. She didn't instill fear, she simply carried an air of seriousness. Her hair was perpetually pulled back, and her suits exuded a sharp, polished elegance. She radiated a sense of self-assuredness, as if she held the keys to her own destiny and was unwavering in her desires. I longed for her to see me, to truly recognize my worth for all the right reasons. And then, on a Tuesday morning at 9:41 a.m., I made a choice that felt profoundly foolish. A significant pitch was unfolding with a new client, filled with anticipation and hope. A heavy tension hung in the air, enveloping everyone. Just moments before the meeting began, I was asked to bring in bottled water to the boardroom. I carefully balanced 6 on a tray, my heart racing as I hurried down the hall. I was making an effort to walk quickly, yet I wanted to maintain a sense of calm. A wave of anxiety washed over me. My palms felt clammy and slick with anxiety. As I rounded the corner, my sneaker snagged on a loose piece of carpet, sending a jolt of surprise through me. I stumbled, just a little, but it was enough to send one of the bottles teetering over. The cap felt loose. Suddenly, cold water drenched Jay Morgan's pristine white blouse, catching her off guard as she immersed herself in her notes outside the boardroom. In that moment, it felt as if time itself had come to a standstill. Her gaze fell, then lifted to meet mine. I felt a chilling stillness wash over me. A wave of dread washed over me. Heat rushed to my face. I began to apologize right away, my words tumbling out in a nervous rush, feeling utterly foolish. I deeply apologize, Ms. Morgan. I completely missed it. I stumbled. Allow me a moment to retrieve something special. She remained silent, her voice lost in the depths of her emotions. Not a single word escaped her lips. They met my gaze for just a fleeting moment, their eyes locking onto mine, before speaking in a steady, soothing tone, "Stay after work." With a quiet determination, she turned and stepped into the boardroom, drenched and defiant, as if the storm that had just passed through her life was nothing but a fleeting moment. I believed that was the end. I had reached my breaking point. It's done. At least 5 interns stood before me on the list for full-time hiring. This was my only chance, and I let it slip away. I stood there, the empty tray feeling heavy in my hands, my heart racing as I thought, this is it. Tonight, I faced the heartbreaking reality of losing my job. The remainder of that day felt as heavy and slow as thick, wet cement. My mind was a whirlwind, making it impossible to focus. My hands trembled as I typed out the emails. I meticulously reviewed each task, every message, and every document, poring over even the simplest one-line replies. While everyone around me moved on with their lives, I couldn't shake the feeling of being exposed, as if the world had turned its gaze solely on me. I envisioned Jane Morgan in a sleek, glass-walled office, her fingers poised over the keyboard as she began to craft an email to HR. I found myself lost in the echoes of that moment, replaying it over and over again. The water cascaded around her, her blouse clinging to her form, her voice unwavering, almost haunting, urging me to linger after work. That single sentence struck me like a devastating blow, leaving me breathless. As the clock struck 6 p.m., the office began to slowly empty, leaving behind echoes of the day's hustle and bustle. Coworkers gathered their bags, discarded their empty coffee cups, and shared laughter filled with inside jokes. I sat motionless at my desk, feigning the act of organizing the same folder on my desktop for what felt like the 4th time. I found myself glancing anxiously down the hallway, torn between the urge to seek her out in her office and the hope that she would come looking for me instead. My mouth felt parched. It had been hours since I last tasted a drop of water, and the irony of it all weighed heavily on me. At 6:13, she appeared before my eyes. Jane glided down the hallway toward me, embodying the same graceful serenity that she always seemed to possess. Not a trace of makeup smudged, not a single hair out of place, as if the water incident had never touched her at all. She paused at my desk, her gaze piercing through me. "Come, let's take a walk," she said softly. I nodded silently, my heart heavy with unspoken thoughts. As I slipped on my coat, a weight settled in my legs, making each step feel like a struggle as I followed her out of the building. In that moment, solitude enveloped me, the soft whispers of the city shifting from the bustling rhythm of work to the gentle embrace of twilight. Silence enveloped us as we made our way west toward Riverside, each step heavy with unspoken words. The streets thrummed with a cacophony of sound, yet she glided through it all as if dancing to a melody only she could hear. Self-assured, at peace with myself. I lingered in the shadows, my heart racing with uncertainty, wondering if I should break the silence and speak first. At last, we stepped into Riverside Park and discovered a serene bench that offered a breathtaking view of the Hudson. The river glowed like liquid gold, capturing the final, tender rays of the day. Jane took a seat. With a moment of uncertainty, I finally took a seat beside her, careful to maintain a respectful space between us. She shattered the stillness. "You know," she said, her gaze lost in the flowing river. At the age of 22, I found myself in a heart-stopping moment when I accidentally drenched my manager's MacBook with an entire latte during a crucial client presentation. I tilted my head just a bit, taken aback by the unexpectedness. She continued, her voice trembling as she revealed, "I wept in the bathroom stall for 20 minutes. I truly believed my career had come to an end." I let out a shaky laugh, my heart racing with uncertainty. And I whispered softly. "And nothing," she whispered. "He chose not to let me go." It's easy to overlook our shared humanity, particularly in this line of work. I remained silent. I was left in a whirlwind of uncertainty, questioning whether she was genuinely trying to comfort me or if this was merely a prelude to the heart-wrenching moment of saying goodbye. In that moment, her gaze met mine. "Your dedication is truly remarkable, Aiden. I've been observing closely. Even when you feel invisible, I see you." That struck me deeper than I ever anticipated. A constriction gripped my throat, yet I managed to nod. Thank you, I found a way to get through it. I asked you to stay because I truly needed a moment to breathe, she confessed with sincerity. I hoped you would feel the same way. I was taken aback by that even more. I rarely allow myself to take breaks, I confessed. It feels as though if I take a moment to breathe, I'll be left in the dust. Jane nodded, a subtle acknowledgement that hinted at a deeper understanding beneath the surface. I truly understand. Yet, if you push yourself to the brink for too long, you risk having nothing left to offer. This city has a way of consuming you whole if you allow it to. For a moment, we simply lingered in silence. Let's skip the trivial chatter. Embrace the ease. Only silence lingers. And not the kind that makes you squirm. The air between us hung heavy with unspoken words. At peace. Nearly serene. In that fleeting moment, her words emerged, transforming everything in their wake. You bring back memories of someone who once held a special place in my heart. She remained silent, and I chose not to pry. Yet, there was an undeniable intimacy in her tone that struck a chord within me. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, she rose at last. I'll see you tomorrow, she said, her voice light and carefree, as if the weight of everything that had transpired had vanished into thin air. It felt as if we were merely two souls who crossed paths, sharing a fleeting moment on a bench, lost in our own worlds. She guided me to the subway, her presence a comforting warmth in the bustling city. There will be no lecture. No consequences. It was a serene stroll, filled with a profound, unvoiced realization that something had irrevocably changed between us. I stood there, watching her fade into the soft glow of the streetlight, and a profound realization washed over me. Fear had finally released its grip on me. The following morning, as I walked into the office, the surroundings remained the same, yet I felt profoundly transformed. It was as if I stepped into a place I once knew, yet the atmosphere buzzed with an unsettling newness. Identical desks. Familiar hallway bus. The familiar, slightly burnt aroma wafts from the communal toaster, a reminder of neglect as no one has taken the time to clean it. Yet, my thoughts were consumed by Jane. Not in an exaggerated, overly sentimental manner. It felt as if a profound connection had blossomed between us. A vast expanse. A profound revelation. As she strolled by my desk just before 9:30 a.m., cradling her familiar black coffee, she was lost in a flurry of taps on her phone, a fleeting moment that felt both ordinary and yet somehow significant. As she walked by, she glanced up for just a moment and offered me the faintest nod. It was hardly seen, yet it struck with the force of a thunderclap. It was something she had never experienced before. I found myself momentarily paralyzed, my heart racing, before I feigned the motion of typing something. Throughout that entire day, my mind felt like it was wandering far away from the office. I responded to emails, participated in Zoom calls, printed reports, yet a piece of my heart continually wandered back to that bench. Her voice lingered in my mind, whispering that I reminded her of someone from her past. That lingered in my heart. It lacked any hint of flirtation. It felt deeply personal. It's just too intimate. Just 2 days later, as I scrolled through my inbox in the break room, her name suddenly appeared, stirring a rush of emotions within me. Shall we take a walk together? What's on your mind? Once the workday comes to an end. Here we are again, in the same place. I pored over it 3 times, each reading deepening my connection to the words. Brief. Laid back. But it made my stomach churn with a whirlwind of emotions. It had nothing to do with work. No attachments were found. No guidance provided. A heartfelt invitation. As the clock struck 6 p.m., I lingered at my desk for an additional 10 minutes, caught in a moment of anticipation. I felt a deep uncertainty, torn between the urge to seek her out and the hope that she would return to me once more. At 6:11, she passed by, a fleeting moment that lingered in the air. Silence speaks volumes. A fleeting look at the elevator. I received the message. We strolled in quietude for the initial few blocks, allowing the vibrant city to swirl around us. The sky glowed with a soft pale blue, gently melting into warm shades of orange, while the streets buzzed with the vibrant energy of people concluding their day. As we walked across 78th, she lovingly handed me a warm cup of coffee. "You seem so weary this morning," she said softly, her voice filled with concern. It was not the kind of insight one would expect from a manager. It touched my heart in a deeper way. Recognizing a truth that only someone who gazes at you with unspoken affection could ever perceive. By the riverbank, she turned to me with curiosity and inquired about my hometown. I shared with her the story of the quaint little town just outside Pittsburgh, the place where my roots run deep. My mom tirelessly worked nights at a clinic and spent her weekends at a diner, all to ensure there was food on the table for us. I shared with her the story of my late-night classes and the countless hours I spent freelancing, all driven by my determination to earn my degree. She held her silence. She simply listened, her heart open and her presence a comforting embrace. She began to share the story of her early days in New York, and I could feel the weight of her memories in every word. In a cozy 2-bedroom apartment, she shared her life with 3 roommates, each day weaving together their stories and dreams in the close quarters of their shared home. How she once fled a client meeting in the midst of a pitch, overwhelmed by a sudden wave of panic. She confessed, a hint of laughter escaping her lips, that she had spent the next hour weeping in a bookstore. In that moment, I picked up a notebook and poured my heart into sketching new ideas that danced in my mind. In that instant, she truly came alive for me. Not an unattainable icon in high heels and perfectly tailored jackets, but a woman who had battled fiercely to reach her place in the world. Our paths crossed once more just 2 days later. Once more, that fateful Friday arrived. With every moment, it began to feel like second nature. The walks transformed into something truly special. Silent yet unwavering. I kept it all to myself. She didn't either. This was more than just idle chatter in the office. It felt so far from what one would expect in a professional setting. It belonged solely to us. She shared with me her deep passion for classic films. I confessed that there are still nights when I find solace in earplugs, as the city's sounds are a constant reminder of my unfamiliarity with this bustling world. We shared laughter. We savored the vibrant street food together. With a playful tone, she once chided me for my lack of foresight in not bringing an umbrella while wandering through the city. One evening, as we settled into our familiar spot, she looked at me with a tenderness in her eyes that took me by surprise. "This isn't something I typically do," she confessed. In that fleeting moment, I blinked. What should I do? Open your heart to others. Speak in this manner. Opening my heart to others doesn't come naturally to me. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight in my throat. That struck a profound chord within me. Her words resonated deeply within me, and I understood her completely. "I feel the same way," I responded. "Not at all." Our eyes met, lingering in a moment that felt like an eternity. Not in a way that evokes romance. Not quite right. Yet, something lingered in the air. Something that lingered between us, unspoken and undefined. She rose to her feet, delicately sweeping away unseen specks from her coat. "I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Aiden." Her voice danced lightly in the air, yet that moment lingered like a weight in my chest, haunting me throughout the night. The following days slipped away in a whirlwind of spreadsheets, endless calls, and neglected lunches, barely touched at my desk. Since that night, Jane and I had not walked together again, yet her presence in the office now felt so much more profound, as if an unspoken connection pulsed between us, a silent rhythm that remained unaught. Iced by everyone else. Though our words were few and only spoken when absolutely needed, each fleeting glance between us carried a weight of unspoken emotions. A profound connection that speaks without words. My senses were completely attuned to her, and I believe she felt it as well. Then, on that fateful Thursday, everything changed. As the clock approached 4:45 p.m., a moment when I was beginning to unwind and let the day's weight lift, a Slack message broke through the stillness. This isn't an email. This is not a forwarded file. A heartfelt message from her on Slack. J. Morgan, could you please swing by my office for a moment before you leave? It would mean a lot to me. I gazed at it for a moment, lost in thought. My heart raced, caught in my throat. Did I do something wrong? Could this truly be the end? Was she really going to tell me that all those cherished walks and heartfelt talks had somehow crossed a line? I took a deep breath, steeling myself, and began to type a response. Myself. Absolutely. I'm on my way, feeling the anticipation build with every step I take. As I approached, I noticed her office door slightly ajar, a silent invitation that stirred a mix of anticipation and curiosity within me. She lifted her gaze from the glow of her laptop and beckoned me to enter with a gentle wave of her hand. A face devoid of joy. Simply at peace. Gently shut the door behind me. I truly did. That intensified the gravity of the situation. I won't pretend this isn't strange, she said, her hands clasped tightly together. I was hoping you might want to share a dinner with me tonight. This isn't about work. It's simply a heartfelt exchange. I felt a chill run through me. She must have seen the fear in my eyes because she quickly reassured me, you can say no. I can see how this may appear. Please, I hope you don't feel any pressure. Yet, I felt no pressure at all. I felt an undeniable tug within me. It felt as though a part of me, long hidden away, was finally emerging into the warmth of the light. I could no longer turn a blind eye to it. All right. I whispered, softer than I intended. Absolutely. I would truly cherish that. We parted ways, each on our own path. After a long 10 minutes of anticipation, I finally made my way to the charming little Italian restaurant just 2 blocks from the office. It was her idea, a spark of inspiration that ignited something within me. Declared that the lasagna was absolutely incredible. She walked in just 5 minutes after I did. Wearing the very same blazer from the office. Yet, her hair flowed freely. I had never looked at it from that perspective before. It gave her an enchanting softness. Equally professional. Simply more authentic. The restaurant was softly illuminated, casting a warm and inviting glow. A place where the soft glow of candles eagerly awaits on the tables, ready to create an intimate atmosphere. And the soft, lingering notes of jazz wafting gently in the background. We decided to indulge in a bottle of wine. She let it flow. You look a bit anxious, she remarked softly. I am, I confess. At last, her smile broke through. I feel the same way. We shared our thoughts and feelings for more than an hour, lost in the moment. Let's skip the formalities. Free from the burdens of office politics. It's simply life. Her heart-wrenching first marriage that didn't last. The difficult bond one shared with my father. She shared with me the beauty of her garden. She cherished it on the rooftop of her building. I shared with her the story of the old bookstore, my sanctuary, where I would seek refuge when the world became overwhelming and too noisy. As dessert arrived, a palpable shift filled the air. We were more than just colleagues gathered around a table. We were 2 souls beginning to recognize the depth of our connection, transcending mere titles. Beyond mere titles. As we stepped outside, the night enveloped us in its cool, serene embrace. She lingered at the corner, uncertainty gripping her heart. I have no idea what this is, she whispered gently. Yet, deep down, I sense that it feels so right. I gave a gentle nod. Absolutely. I feel the same way. We lingered there for a moment, perhaps a heartbeat longer than we ought to have. Not a single kiss was shared. Not a single line was crossed. There's an unspoken connection, gently blossoming between us. As I strolled home, my hands nestled in my pockets, a peculiar smile danced across my lips. Uncertainty loomed over me, and I felt a wave of anxiety wash over as I pondered what might come next. For the very first time since I arrived in this city, everything felt profoundly right. A week had passed since that unforgettable night. A week filled with fleeting glances, heavy silences, and unvoiced emotions lingering in the space between Jane and me. Everything has changed now. Yet, in that moment, it felt as though nothing had truly shifted. We continued to collaborate, side by side. We continued to hold our team meetings just as before. We continued to cross paths in the hallway, sharing fleeting moments of kindness with our words. Yet, I couldn't escape the haunting sensation that everything had changed, and so had she. In the most surprising turn of events, the distance that once separated us has vanished completely. Yet, I found myself lost in uncertainty about our place in each other's lives. It felt like we were both paralyzed by fear, hesitant to put a name to what we shared. Paralyzed by the fear of crossing a line that could shatter everything I built. The weight of the tension was suffocating, and I could sense myself slowly coming apart at the seams. It was on a fateful afternoon that everything changed. It was a Wednesday, and the world felt like it was wrapped in a comforting blanket of normalcy. As I sat at my desk, sifting through a sea of emails, I caught a glimpse of Jane passing by my cubicle. For a fleeting moment, our eyes locked, and time seemed to stand still. She kept going, unwavering in her resolve. I remained silent. Yet, in that fleeting instant, the spark of connection was everything. My mind was a whirlwind, making it impossible to concentrate on my work. Thoughts of her kept swirling in my mind, refusing to let go. To the unknown that lies ahead. To the way her eyes sparkled at me when she smiled that night at dinner. As the clock inched closer to 5 p.m., my phone suddenly buzzed, breaking the stillness of the moment. A heartfelt message from Jane. Jane Morgan. I really need to talk to you. Would you be able to meet me after work? It would mean a lot to me. I gazed at the message, a wave of anxiety churning in my stomach. What was it that she yearned to discuss? Is this really all there is? Was this the moment when all that we had built together would come crashing down? Memories of that night flooded my mind, and I found myself lost in thought. In that moment, I felt a profound sense of liberation, finally embracing the essence of who I truly am after what felt like an eternity. But now, I found myself lost in uncertainty, questioning whether this was truly something she desired to pursue, or if I had completely misread the situation. I responded, desperately seeking to steady my racing heart. Is it really me? Absolutely. Where could it possibly be? Her reply came with a place marked on the map. A serene little cafe tucked away close to the office. The fact that it was a place we had never discussed only deepened my curiosity. I slipped out of the office early, my heart racing with the hope that perhaps this time, everything would finally fall into place. The cafe exuded warmth, its intimate atmosphere inviting you to discover the hidden tables nestled in the back corner. The moment I stepped inside, my eyes were drawn to her instantly. She sat at a table by the window, the sunlight dancing through the glass, illuminating her hair with a warm, golden glow. It gave her an air of gentleness, making her seem more inviting than ever before. For the first time in what felt like ages, she no longer held the weight of being the fearsome boss. She was simply Jane, a name that held a world of stories within it. As I approached, she glanced up from her phone, and a warm smile spread across her face. It was a smile that came from deep within, far removed from the forced, polite facade she displayed at the office. It was so real, and it sent a wave of emotion crashing into my chest, tightening it with an overwhelming intensity. Hey, she said, her voice filled with warmth. Thank you so much for being here. I took a seat opposite her, attempting to appear nonchalant, yet my heart raced wildly in my chest. Absolutely. What's happening? She paused, her heart racing, before finally finding the courage to speak. I've been reflecting on our journey, on all that we've experienced together, and I truly believe it's time for us to have an open conversation about it. Absolutely, without a doubt. The air hung heavy between us. I was desperately trying to read her, yearning to uncover the thoughts swirling in her mind. My stomach was in knots. Okay, I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. What is it that you wish to express? She gazed at me for what felt like an eternity, as if weighing each word with the utmost care. And then, at long last, her voice broke the silence. Text, I understand that this began in a manner none of us could have foreseen, she said, her gaze unwavering. I can't bear to act as if this is merely a fleeting moment. This isn't meant for me, and I truly believe it isn't meant for you either. I was at a loss for words. Was this the moment she would turn away from me, confess that everything had been a mistake, that we should just retreat to the way things were before our hearts began to intertwine? I truly care about you, she whispered, her voice soft yet unmistakably sincere. And I feel it deep within me. I truly want to explore where this journey might lead us. I'm terrified of how others might perceive me, yet the fear of betraying my own truth weighs even heavier on my heart. A wave of emotion washed over me, tightening my chest as her words pierced through the silence. This was far more than a mere flirtation. She was utterly serious. She longed for this. She longed for me. But what will happen to the office? Isn't it incredible that we share this journey together? What can we do to make this truly come together? Could it truly be within the realm of possibility? I care about you too, I murmured, my voice barely escaping my lips. Yet, this is truly complex. I understand, she said, her head nodding slowly in agreement. Yet, it remains within the realm of possibility. We must tread carefully. A wave of relief enveloped me, bringing a profound sense of peace. She had held on, refusing to let me go. She stood her ground, unwavering. She yearned to make it work, fully aware of the chaos that could ensue. And for some reason, I was deeply aware that I shared those same feelings. With newfound determination, I declared, my voice resonating with confidence. If you truly are. Her fingers brushed against my hand as she leaned across the table, a gentle connection that sent a rush of warmth through me. The touch was gentle, yet it sparked a thrilling energy within me. What once seemed shrouded in doubt is now blossoming into a sense of belonging. We had stopped pretending. The games had come to an end, leaving an aching silence in their wake. No more doubts lingering in the shadows. You're not alone in your fear, Aiden, she whispered, holding my hand tightly. But I'm exhausted from dwelling in the realm of what-ifs. I long to discover the possibilities that lie ahead. We lingered there for a while, sharing our thoughts on everything and nothing at all. Dreams, aspirations, anxieties. The world beyond seemed so far away. In that fleeting moment, nothing else held significance but the profound bond we shared. As we stepped out of the cafe, the darkness had already enveloped the world around us. As we strolled to the subway, our fingers still entwined, the bustling city around us felt softer, wrapped in a gentle hush, as if it shared in our moment of tranquility. This was not the conclusion. This was only the dawn of something extraordinary. We were completely unaware of the uncertainties that lay ahead. Yet, for the first time in what feels like ages, I sensed that it truly didn't matter. Hand in hand, we would navigate through it all. 5 long years have passed. It has been 5 long years since that fateful moment when I accidentally spilled water on Jane, a moment that felt like the end of the world. It has been 5 years since we stepped out of that cafe, filled with uncertainty about our destination, yet deep down, we felt an undeniable sense that it would lead us to something profoundly significant. Every time I reflect on that night, I'm filled with awe at the incredible journey we've taken together. Look at all that we've created together. Look at how far we've come. Who could have foreseen that a mere accident, a careless slip, would bring me to this moment? Yet, here we stand today. Jane and I share a warm, inviting home just beyond the city's hustle, nestled in a tranquil neighborhood that wraps us in serenity. A haven where the sweet melodies of birds greet you in the morning, and the warm embrace of sunlight dances through the window as you savor each sip of your coffee. It may not be extravagant or showy, but it holds a special place in our hearts. It's truly ours. A heartfelt testament to all our efforts and dreams realized. All that we battled for. It's astonishing to realize that everything began with just a spilled drink. In that moment, it felt as though I was merely struggling to keep my head above water, battling the overwhelming pressures of the corporate world. Little did I know that my life was about to take such a profound turn. I never imagined I would encounter someone as extraordinary as Jane. Powerful, wise, and radiating a beauty that transcended mere looks. She truly made me feel acknowledged. She ignited a spark within me, making me believe I was deserving of something greater. And in return, I poured every ounce of my love into her, with all the passion my heart could hold. Our relationship faced its fair share of challenges, without a doubt. There were moments when we found ourselves pushing beyond our limits, striving harder than we ever imagined possible. Navigating a relationship at work, particularly one that blossomed so unexpectedly, was bound to be a challenge. In the beginning, there were hushed whispers, a flurry of speculation and assumption swirling around us. Yet, we refused to let that hold us back. We faced each challenge, every moment of uncertainty, and emerged even more resilient together. The first year was undoubtedly the most challenging. We faced the challenge of finding a way to balance our personal lives while ensuring our professional lives remained untouched by the turmoil. Jane remained my boss. Each day, I found myself needing to demonstrate my worth all over again. It was often a struggle to distinguish the personal from the professional. Yet, we discovered. We blossomed. And gradually, everything began to feel like it belonged. The facade had finally crumbled away. We finally let our hearts be seen. What we shared was genuine, and we held our heads high in its embrace. As time passed, everything found its own comforting rhythm. Our work lives transformed from a struggle for survival into a beautiful journey of thriving together. We began to embark on vacations together, sharing small adventures to the coast and cherished weekends in the mountains. Only the two of us. We shared our hearts and souls, diving into every thought and feeling. The dreams that ignite our souls, the fears that haunt our nights, and the hopes that guide us toward a brighter tomorrow. After 3 beautiful years together, I finally found the courage to propose to Jane. It was nothing grand or lavish. It was a serene evening at home, the soft glow of candlelight illuminating our dinner, and a ring I had carefully chosen after countless nights of dreaming about what would be just right. An overwhelming wave of anxiety washed over me. Filled with an anxiety I had never known before. Yet, deep within my heart, I was certain that she was the one. Life without her feels unimaginable. When she said yes, it was as if a heavy burden had been gently lifted from my shoulders, leaving me breathless with joy. This truly happened. This belonged to us. We exchanged our vows in an intimate ceremony, enveloped by the warmth of our closest friends and family. It may not have been a grand wedding, but it was absolutely perfect for us. That day, I was overwhelmed with joy, unable to contain my smile as I watched her gracefully walk down the aisle, fully aware that I had discovered my soulmate. The woman I was destined to share my life with. Now, after 5 incredible years, we've woven our lives together into something beautiful. Our little family is growing, with the joy of a dog we welcomed into our hearts last year and the exciting news of a baby on the way. The memory of Jane's expression when we discovered we were expecting is etched in my mind forever. It was an overwhelming wave of joy, and it wasn't solely because we were about to embrace parenthood. We had journeyed so far side by side, and now, we stood on the brink of a beautiful new chapter waiting to unfold. With each passing moment, our bond has deepened and flourished. We've discovered so much about one another, embracing not only the beautiful moments but also the flaws, the imperfections, and the aspects we're still striving to improve. But I've come to understand that those things hold no true significance. What truly matters is that we stand united in this journey. We are creating a life rooted in trust, love, and deep understanding. As I sit here in our living room, with Jane by my side, I am overwhelmed by the journey we've shared, the challenges we've faced together, and the profound love that has blossomed in the most surprising moments. The journey was far from easy. It was far from perfect. Yet, it was undeniably real. And that is what truly matters. 5 years ago, this was beyond my wildest dreams. Yet now, I wouldn't alter a single moment. This was destined to unfold.